Craig. I'm so sorry.
Top of the stairs, first door on the left. Thank you.
Felix, I'm so sorry, darling. You're too late.
Mrs. Lancaster, a word, please.
Where's the body?
Come on, Betty. And Pink Ted.
Morning, Charlie.
Morning.
You're here early, aren't you?
I had to drop Kate's keys into the estate agent and get the rest of my stuff into storage, so.
Back at the B&B.
Our loss is Brighton University's gain.
And how is our new Professor Wilding getting on?
Good. She's loving the job. You know, she's staying with Ben Jones while she's house hunting.
No. John never tells me anything. He looks good with a beard.
Looks like they're having a ball, doesn't it?
I'm sure she's missing you too, Charlie. How's her replacement settling in?
Cam? Yeah, she's very efficient.
Dr. Carrymore keeps Nelson on his toes.
I don't think she likes me very much.
I'm sure that's not true. You just need the right case to break the ice.
Which is exactly why I'm here. There's been an incident over at Little Malton.
An incident?
A dead body has vanished.
So, Gregory Lancaster, 75, died at home last night from pneumonia, attended by his doctor and surrounded by his family. When the undertakers arrived, he disappeared.
It's a first, isn't it?
The question is, are we dealing with a body snatcher or a murderer?
Looks like Cam and her team beat us to it.
No need to feel threatened, Nelson. Dr. Carrymore.
Hello. 2 seconds.
You can get one of the team to do that, you know.
There's no substitute for personal investigation. Please, call me Cam. Hi, Charlie.
Sorry about this, Cam. Don't suppose there's much you can tell from an empty room, is there?
Quite the opposite.
Right.
Let's start with the bed. The undersheet has been pulled to the right, suggesting the body was removed from this side. And see this, the weft of the carpet? It's flattened in the same way. And these unusual fibres were on the floor and pillow.
All suggesting the body may have been removed via the window.
Exactly.
Morphine. Is it unusual to prescribe that for pneumonia?
Not unheard of if the patient is in severe distress. Don't worry, I've already dusted for prints.
Can I touch this?
Yep, it's been processed.
No handy trees or drain pipes. No access to the terrace. It would have been difficult to get a ladder up here.
Rigor mortis wouldn't have set in. The corpse would still be pliable.
So it could have been taken by somebody acting alone, in a fireman's lift, for example?
I think that's possible.
I think you can.
Linda.
So the body was either taken through the window or carried through the house. Either way, it's insanely risky.
Whoever did this isn't afraid of risk. Did your husband's death come as a surprise, Mrs. Lancaster?
Yes and no. 2 weeks ago, he contracted a chest infection which turned into pneumonia. He was vulnerable, so we knew the dangers.
Vulnerable why? He wasn't very old.
Gregory broke his pelvis in an accident 25 years ago. He was never really well afterwards.
You, your daughter, and your son-in-law were all in the room when Dr. Vernon pronounced your husband dead, is that correct?
Yes. Although Craig and Rose are not married, so technically he is not my son-in-law.
I'm a midwife, based at Causton Hospital. My mother phoned to say Dad was sinking fast, so I abandoned my shift and came home. So at least I got to say goodbye.
What did you do after your father passed away?
We came downstairs, but I went out into the garden to sort of clear my head. I should have stayed with Daddy, and none of this would have happened.
But you had no reason to believe anything like this would happen, did you?
No.
We'd like to speak to Craig if he's around.
Oh, he's at work. He's a tree surgeon, but he won't gone far.
It's just he finds trees less stressful than people.
Were Rose and her father close?
Rose was devoted to her father.
And your son?
Well, he travelled for 36 hours to get here in time. Unfortunately, he was too late. He arrived a few minutes after the undertaker.
I assume Mr. Lancaster left a will. Would you mind telling me what's in it?
I get an annuity and a cottage in the village. Everything else goes to Felix. Father to son, the way we've always done it in this family.
And your daughter? Does she get anything?
No.
I've just flown back from Buenos Aires. I'm a polar expedition leader. I spend most of my time in Antarctica. I was just about to go to the Vinson Massif when I got the message to say that my father was ill.
How did you get from the airport to Little Malton?
I hired a car. I drove far too fast, but I still got here too late. I'd been in the house for less than a minute when the undertakers discovered that my father's body was missing. What's going on, Inspector? Is this some sort of monstrous practical joke?
It's possible, Mr. Lancaster, but I doubt it. You do realise that with the investigation underway, your inheritance is on hold?
Well, this is hardly the time to be discussing that. Right now, my only concern is getting my father back.
That sounds like our not-quite-son-in-law now.
How does a tree surgeon bag the daughter of the local squire, do you reckon?
Nelson, I do believe the countryside's getting to you. You're turning into a snob.
Hi. You wanted to speak to me?
Yes, please, Mr. Copley. I'm Detective Chief Inspector Barnaby, Causton CID. This is Sergeant Nelson.
Hi.
Would you mind telling us what you did last night immediately after Dr. Vernon pronounced Mr. Lancaster dead?
We all came downstairs.
Rose wanted to be alone, so I left her to it.
Did you get on well with Mr. Lancaster?
He was civil enough. Let me live in his house, can't complain.
And Mrs. Lancaster?
How long have you lived at Malton Hall?
Nearly 4 years. Came to do a bit of work in the estate, met Rose. She's never left. Not that that's going to last much longer.
What do you mean?
Well, Felix isn't going to hang around and run the place, whatever Hermione thinks. He'll have it on the market the first chance he gets.
What are they all still doing poking around here? They should be out looking for Dad.
They think it's one of us.
That's absurd.
Have you any other ideas?
A disgruntled tenant, an old enemy of Dad's.
This day just keeps getting worse.
Your father didn't have any enemies, darling. He'd barely left the house for years.
Mrs. Lancaster, I was so sorry to hear about your husband.
Thank you. Relieved too, I'm sure.
You don't seriously imagine I'd take pleasure in an outrage like this? Mr. Lancaster understood my point of view.
Which is more than I did.
Regardless of past disagreements, please accept my sincere condolences. And if there's anything I can do...
I think you've done enough, Reverend Ackes.
My officers and the forensics team will be finished here quite soon.
Thank you.
Mr. Lancaster, I assume you will remain in Little Malton for the time being?
Well, of course he will. He's got an estate to run.
What exactly are your plans, Felix? Don't you think you should be straight with Mum?
What are you two talking about?
It may not be possible for us to keep the hall on.
You can't be serious.
Well, this place eats cash. Plus there are the death duties on top. But whatever happens, I will make sure you are very well looked after. You know that, don't you?
I don't usually doubt your information, Nelson, but are you sure?
This is Dr. Vernon's home address, according to his receptionist.
At least we can kill two birds with one stone. I'll take the doctor, you take the undertaker.
Had Dr. Vernon warned you that Mr. Lancaster was likely to die at any moment?
Not at all. We operate on the Chinese walls principle. Isaac doesn't tip me off about possible clients.
I wasn't suggesting he does, Mr. Southwood. It's just you seem to have gotten to Malton Hall very quickly.
Well, we always respond swiftly to requests for our services, Sergeant.
Tell me what happened when you got there.
Craig let us in and directed us to Mr. Lancaster's room. But it was empty.
Did you notice anything else odd? Was the bedroom window open or closed?
Open.
Closed. Oh, you're right. It was open.
Were you completely satisfied that it was pneumonia that killed Mr. Lancaster?
Of course. What else are you suggesting?
An overdose of morphine, perhaps?
The quantity of morphine left in the bottle wasn't consistent with an overdose. Once again, the answer to your question is yes. I'm satisfied that Gregory Lancaster died of pneumonia.
Thank you, Doctor. It's rather an unusual setup you have here, isn't it?
Doctor and undertaker living together, you mean? We get the occasional joke about a one-stop shop. Yes, but I can assure you that our partnership is purely personal. We keep our professional lives entirely separate.
Hello?
Hello, darling.
Betty's not asleep yet.
No, she won't settle. Pink Ted's gone missing.
Another missing body, that's all I need. Long story. I'll tell you over supper.
Not unless we find this missing toy, you won't. How's Charlie getting on? He seemed a bit down this morning.
He's fine. His new landlady's spoiling him. Her son's just left for uni.
Well, still, I think we should have him round for dinner.
Have you looked in Betty's room?
Genius. Why didn't I think of that?
Aha!
Where was it?
Under the cushion.
Well, how on earth did he get there?
Ah, these things have got a mind of their own. You don't think we should take this opportunity to permanently disappear it?
No.
Coming, Betty.
Well, you weren't much out, were you?
Good morning, ladies.
Morning. Is Violet any better?
Nope. I've been up half the night with her. I'm gonna have to call the vet.
Poor Violet.
Poor me. You should have been a vet, not an undertaker. They make a fortune. Bye, Mum. Bye, darling. Mwah.
Hello, darling.
Have you seen Pink Ted? He's gone missing.
Missing again?
Yeah, afraid so.
Sorry, but I think I'd have noticed if I brought a pink teddy bear to work with me. Good luck.
Bye.
Someone's going to great lengths to ensure I don't get my hands on a body.
Don't take it personally. What do we know?
Lydia Mary Dryfield died 5 months ago at the age of 82. Lived in the village, never married. And until she retired 20 years ago, she was the Lancaster family's nanny.
So this was aimed at them? Oh, that's what we're supposed to think.
There's only one set of footprints from the grave. A single perpetrator. Looks like we could be dealing with the same person.
What state would the body be in after 5 months?
A coffin's solid oak, and if the body was embalmed, that would delay putrefaction. In layman's terms, she could look quite fresh.
It looks as if the coffin was smashed open with an axe.
With a blade 27 centimetres by 12, thickness of 3.8 millimetres.
That's very accurate.
Absolutely. Digital caliper.
Anything unusual about those measurements?
Unfortunately not. It's a standard axe head sold in any DIY shop. But once they remove the coffin, I can get in there and have a closer look.
It's all much more crude and obvious than the Moulton Hall incident. Find out if there's anyone else connected to the Lancaster family buried here. We need to know if there are other potential targets.
Felix, my friend.
Good to see you, Sonny.
And you. But this is a sad time.
Yep, sad and grotesquely complicated.
We'll find a way through. I promise.
Mrs. Lancaster.
Good heavens! Sonny decide.
I'm so sorry. Gregory's death was bad enough, but now this.
It's all absolutely ghastly. Except for seeing you, of course. But I can't believe you came all this way just to pay your respects.
I'm sorry, I thought you knew. I'm buying Moulton Hall.
Reverend Ackers, DCI Barnaby, Corston CID. This is DS Nelson, Mr. Coughley.
Craig was passing and saw all the activity.
Mel was a bit shaky, so I stayed with her. I'll be off then.
This morning's been a bit of a shock. Quite sickening, actually.
Have there been any other incidents lately? Graffiti on the graves? Vandalism of any kind?
Nothing.
Did you know Lydia Dryfield well?
She came to church regularly, and I visited her a bit when I first came to St. John's, but she wasn't terribly welcoming. Made it clear she didn't approve of female clergy.
You weren't very welcome at Moulton Hall either, were you?
Come and look at this. The Lancaster Chapel. All Gregory Lancaster's ancestors are buried here.
Inside the church?
Quite. I had to make it clear to Gregory I wasn't going to allow the practice to continue. It's profoundly undemocratic, against everything Christianity ought to stand for.
How did he take your decision?
Pretty well, really. Unlike his wife and daughter, who've frozen me out ever since.
I wonder if her stand over the chapel is the only reason the Reverend Ackers is persona non grata at Moulton Hall.
She and Coughley did seem quite close, didn't they?
I'm off back to the lab, unless there's anything else.
Oh.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Betty's favourite cuddly toy has somehow found its way into the back of my car.
Ructions at nap time?
Probably. This is the second time in 12 hours it's gone missing. You'll look out for any links with the crime scene at Moulton Hall?
Of course. Can I drop the toy off anywhere on my way to the lab?
That's very kind. If you could leave it at the front desk at the station, my wife can pick it up later.
No problem. Put it in that.
Stop smirking, Nelson. Come with me to the undertaker's. Was there anything unusual about Miss Dryfield's funeral?
Not in the least.
I'll get the file for you.
Who made the arrangements?
Mrs. Lancaster. Miss Dryfield had no close family, you see.
Did the Lancasters cover the costs as well?
Yes, but Miss Dryfield had made her wishes clear. It's such a comfort to the dying to know that everything will be taken care of, just the way they want.
And Caleb never lets them down. Are you all right?
Dr. Vernon, thank you for coming. I assume Lydia Dryfield was a patient of yours?
Yes.
What did she die of?
A massive stroke, following several minor ones.
You signed the death certificate?
Naturally.
And given that she was interred, only one signature was needed?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Barnaby, I've a funeral booked for tomorrow at St. John's, burial service, nowhere near Miss Dreyfield's grave. The family will be devastated if we have to postpone.
You can go ahead, but there'll be a police presence at the church.
Of course.
Lovely. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
I wanted to come yesterday, but I thought you'd rather be left in peace.
Oh, I wish everyone was as considerate as you.
Ellie called. She said she saw a helicopter land here while she was on her way to work.
Sonny Desai, old school friend of Felix. Stinking rich. And single.
It's a bit of a showy way to come and offer condolences, isn't it? She said it made a heck of a racket, too.
The village is going to have to get used to that. Sonny's going to be the new owner of Malton Hall.
Felix is selling. Already.
That's his plan.
Steady, darling. It's not lunchtime yet.
Be nice to me. I just lost my husband.
I can't believe you're buying the house.
I've always loved this place, Rose.
I know you have. More than Felix, anyway. I hope you realise what you're taking on.
Of course he does.
I wouldn't take his word for it, Sonny. No, the attics are riddled with dry rot, the roof needs replacing, the guttering's hanging on by a thread. I suggest you get the surveyors in. Money's been tight for years. We've been keeping up appearances, but...
Well, you won't have to worry any longer. I will spend whatever it takes to restore Martin Hall to its former glory.
I had no idea that you and Felix were still in touch.
No, I'm sure I mentioned it.
No, you didn't. Then Felix was never one for chit-chat, was he?
Oh, no. Very much a man of action, even when he was 10. Do you both remember the pontoon across the pond?
Oh, my God, yes? Yes! Felix just wouldn't give up, would he?
Oh, I've missed you, Rose. I'll take good care of your home, and you'll always be welcome here. Please know that.
What's the best way to tell a family that a beloved old retainer has been dug up?
Well, that is sick. Well, who would do something like that?
Poor Felix.
How long did Lydia Dryfield work for you, Mrs. Lancaster?
12 or 13 years. And of course, we stayed in touch after she retired.
Were any of you with her when she died?
No.
You all attended the funeral, though?
Only me, I'm afraid.
Oh, I wish I'd known. I would have come.
Did you know Lydia Dryfield, Mr. Desai?
Oh, yes. I stayed here often as a boy. She was always very kind to me.
She was, wasn't she? Kinder than she ever was to me.
Have you received any demands for money?
What do you mean?
Bodies are sometimes stolen, dug up even, so that the families can be held to ransom.
That's vile.
Indeed. And if it's happening in this case, you must tell me. Please don't be tempted to keep quiet and pay up.
I wouldn't dream of it.
No, this isn't about money. Someone is out to make our lives hell.
Well, there's no love lost between the vicar and the Lancasters.
Not unless Craig Coughley counts as a Lancaster, which he clearly doesn't. Sonny Desai introduced himself as the prospective purchaser of Malton Hall, but he seems almost like one of the family. See what you can find out about him and his connection with the Lancasters.
Sir.
We must. We'll be careful.
It is too risky. The police have already searched the mortuary once.
Which means they won't do it again.
The embalming fluids arrived.
Oh, thank you, Billy. Thank you.
That was delicious, Hermione, thank you.
All Rose's work.
You know, when I'm away, I sometimes dream about your rabbit stew, Rose.
Remember when Dad used to sit on the terrace, downing gin and tonics, taking pot shots at rabbits on the lawn?
I was so shocked the first time I saw that.
You won't remember that, Craig. He was too ill the last few years.
I think we should have a toast. Now, I brought this with me and took the liberty of requisitioning one of your decanters. It's a rather fine port, made in the same year as Gregory's birth.
Goodness. How delicious.
Not for me. Can't stand the stuff. Felix?
I know what you're missing, Craig. Thank you very much, Sonny. That's very generous of you.
Pleasure. To Gregory.
Dad.
Gregory.
To Dad.
To Gregory. It's such a shame you couldn't get home sooner, Felix. It would have meant such a lot to him to see you one last time.
I'm sorry. I did my best.
I know you did, darling.
I had some of the happiest times at this house. You're all so good at making me feel like part of the family.
Didn't you have a family of your own?
Well, India is a long way away, and my parents travelled a lot.
Holidays were much more fun when you were here.
Oh, now, remember the climbing game?
Oh, we've not played that in years. Well, I bet the ropes are still there.
No.
Well, come on. Let's do it.
Felix?
You're on.
No.
Still gonna beat you.
No.
I always do,
Felix!
Sonny.
Boys!
Felix!
Come on. Out.
Hey, that's cheating.
Says who?
Stop! Felix, you mustn't! You promised!
Come on!
No, this isn't funny! Will you just stop?
It was easier when we were kids. Showing your age.
You're scaring me! Felix! Sonny!
First to the top.
Felix, get down! Just get down! You're going to fall! Sonny, please!
Come on!
Mummy! Come out here! I don't like it! You know I don't like it! Felix! Felix, this isn't funny!
Prepare to lose, decide.
Mummy! Stop the mummy!
Boys! Boys! Calm down now!
aren't they?
Yes, she's just
Is that
severe.
Yeah. I promise you it's there. Where is there on the left?
No.
I'm not joking.
No.
It's a crumb. Here, let me. Come on. No. Oh, what a difference. Hey.
Want some coffee?
No, thanks. You're going back to work today. Sure you're ready?
It's nothing strenuous, just visiting some new mums at home.
Sounds marvellous. Knowing you've helped bring new life into this world.
It does, mostly. I must get going.
Oh, I was hoping we might have breakfast.
I wanted to make an early start.
Well, I better be off too. Thought I might take a walk around the estate.
Ah, survey your new domain.
In a manner of speaking.
Well, I'll set you on your way if you like.
That's not necessary.
It's no trouble.
What is it?
It's a pathogen analysis of tawny mohair.
Okay.
It's a control sample. I'm testing bacterial profiles from samples found in artificial hair.
What's that got to do with the graveyard?
Nothing at all. It's a different case. Hi, Inspector. Shall I talk you through the Molten Hall findings?
Please.
Look at this. It came from the grave. And these came from the windowsill outside the bedroom at Molten Hall.
Clothing?
Much more likely to be rope. It's coated nylon.
And probably part of the sheath in that case.
It's hard to tell from such a small sample, but I'd say it was strong, expensive stuff.
The kind of thing an experienced climber might use.
Absolutely.
Or a tree surgeon.
Could be.
You think you know Rose, but you don't. Deep down, Rose is very fragile. She needs to be taken care of. I'm the one who does that. And if anyone ever hurt her, I'd take care of them too.
I have no intention of hurting Rose.
Good. Enjoy your walk.
Morning, Eddie. Could you count out the orders of service, please, and then pop over to the church and show you the flowers?
Don't you need me to seal the coffin first?
All done.
But I was going to do it.
I got in early.
Can I help you?
Mrs. Loxley, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm Sonny Desai.
I know who you are. You used to play here years ago with the Lancaster children. You're buying the estate?
Yes.
Let me buy the farm off you, please.
Well, make me an offer by all means.
I've got to go to the bank, see about a mortgage.
You're not a serious buyer, then?
My family has farmed this land for generations. I'd like to be able to leave it to my daughter.
Does she want to be a farmer?
I'd be very careful if I were you. Do you think it's a coincidence that bodies started disappearing the moment Felix came into his inheritance?
Mr. Coughley, good morning. Do you mind if we take a look in your truck?
Be my guest.
Is that all your equipment? You don't have storage anywhere else?
No, just a truck.
You seem to spend quite a lot of time at the church.
Well, I do a bit of work for Mel, that's all.
In the graveyard?
Mostly.
Do you always work alone?
I prefer it.
Isn't that dangerous for a tree surgeon?
Not if you know what you're doing.
Well, thank you, Mr. Coughley. We'll let you get on.
Jesus said to his disciples, "I will make you fishers of men." Eric Jenkins, whose life we're celebrating today, wouldn't have approved of that at all. Trout, perch, and even, I'm told, the odd salmon. But if he'd have ever hooked up a man from his beloved Devil's Lake, Eric would have thrown his catch straight back. We will now sing hymn number 23, Abide With Me.
I didn't realise you'd gone out.
I've had an interesting morning. Not everyone appears to be happy that I'm buying the estate.
Well, do you expect them to be? You're not having second thoughts, are you?
Not at all. I hope you're not either. Because if you pull out now, there's a heavy financial penalty that I won't hesitate to invoke.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
And if you're hoping to make me change my mind, you won't succeed.
Personal feelings aside, Gregory's death was good news for Felix and for Sonny, but not for Hermione or for Rose and Craig because they're all going to lose their homes. But why take Lydia Dryfield?
To scare Sonny off or distract us from what's really going on? The Lancasters' tenants must be worried about the sale too, which means most of the people who live and work in Little Malton.
Including Caleb Southwood and Isaac Vernon. I still don't like the setup there. Isaac certifies them dead, Caleb buries them.
It's a bit close for comfort, isn't it?
Found anything on either of them?
No, nothing criminal. No record of misconduct for Dr. Vernon. I've been checking his mortality rates.
Very good. If there's anything unusual about them, let me know. Perhaps we need to look more closely at the vicar.
Oh, no, I have done. When Melissa was a curate, she was prosecuted for vandalism. She defaced a monument to a local dignitary because his fortune came from the slave trade.
So she's more than capable of taking direct action when there's a principle at stake.
The question is, how far will she go?
Thanks so much, Craig. I don't know what I'd do without you.
You'd manage.
Fancy some tea? Funerals are thirsty work.
Got to get on.
A quick cuppa. Haven't had a chance to talk to you properly in days.
Rose has needed me.
I know that. I just meant...
Leave it now. I should have been up at the woods half an hour ago.
It's over here.
He's gone, I swear. He was right
back, stay back.
He was right here.
Stay over here.
What did you see exactly?
Craig was hanging there, upside down, covered in blood.
You're sure it was Craig Coughlin?
Yes.
Why did you leave the scene?
I don't take my phone with me when I go running, so I went to the farm. It's closer than the hall.
You didn't try to get him down?
He was dead.
The harness has been cut.
Oh, thank God. Oh, God. Oh, I thought I was going mad.
Right.
Another missing body, Cam. What can you tell me?
It doesn't look like an accident. The blood is concentrated in two small areas, but it's present on the blade of the chainsaw as well. The amount of blood suggests the victim didn't bleed out here. The wound may have been staunched before he was taken.
Or he was put in the body bag.
I want all available manpower for a search of the surrounding area. A mile radius to begin with, and work outwards for as long as daylight lasts.
Now I'm going to give you some antibiotics to clear it up. And they won't harm the baby.
Thank you. There you go. Oh. She's doing brilliantly. Thank you.
Excuse me.
I don't understand. Is Craig dead?
We can't be sure without a body, but your son thought so.
Where is Felix?
At the station, making a statement.
Poor Felix. Who's putting us through this hell?
I'm sorry, but I have to ask you some questions. When was the last time you saw Craig Coughlin?
This morning, about 9 o'clock.
And everything was all right between the two of you?
We've been having some problems. He said he wasn't ready to start a family, but I am. And Sonny being here seemed to make matters worse.
Don't they get on?
Craig has been off with Sonny from the start.
Is that all?
Sonny is charming and rich and successful.
Forgive me for asking, but does Craig have any reason to be jealous of Mr. Desai, apart from his wealth and charm?
No. No.
Craig doesn't share your antipathy to Melissa Ackers, does he?
What do you mean?
I've seen him at the church a number of times.
He likes talking to her.
Can't think why.
I understand you and Mr. Coughlin weren't married. Who's his next of kin?
His stepmother, I suppose. She lives somewhere in the West Country.
His biological mother's dead.
She left when Craig was very, very young. They've never had any contact.
What have you got for me, Nelson?
Something interesting from Upper Moulton Farm. A carabiner in a feed store about half a mile from the wood. The farmer, Mrs. Loxley, says she's never been climbing in her life, nor has her daughter. That's Ellie Loxley, who works for the undertakers.
Get the carabiner over to Cam. And then I want you to go and talk to Melissa Ackers.
I can't believe it. I was talking to him just a few hours ago.
And was that the last time you saw Mr. Coughlin?
Yes.
Forgive me, Reverend Ackers, but what was the precise nature of your relationship with Craig?
What's Rose been saying? Craig is a kind man. He helps me out, does little jobs in the churchyard. It's quite lonely being a vicar and a single woman in a small village. Craig hasn't exactly had an easy time of it with the Lancasters either. We both needed a friend.
How did Rose feel about your relationship?
It's not a relationship. We've not done anything wrong.
Why am I still here?
Because I want to know why you've been lying to us, Mr. Lancaster.
I haven't been lying to you. Everything happened exactly as I told you.
I'm not talking about your discovery of Mr. Coughley's body. We just found out from your car hire company that you arrived in the UK 5 days ago. A full 24 hours before you said you did.
Look, I know it sounds bad, and if I'd known my dad was going to die when he did, I'd have come straight home.
But Dr. Vernon told you he'd last a few more days. We've looked at your phone records and his. So, where were you?
I had an urgent meeting in London with my solicitor.
Why was it urgent? We can ask your solicitor if you'd prefer. They'll be obliged to tell us the truth.
I had a pre-existing agreement with Sonny to sell him the hall after my father's death. I was checking for loopholes.
Sir, I've been doing some digging on the Desai business empire.
And come up with some dirt?
Not dirt, tantalum. It's a mineral used in the manufacture of mobile phones.
A valuable commodity, presumably.
Yeah, I imagine Sonny keeps fairly quiet about it because it's quite controversial, and he owns several tantalum mines in Mozambique. He's been challenged a number of times over his mining activities.
6 years ago, Sonny Desai offered to fund one of Felix's expeditions on condition that Felix sold him Moulton Hall when his father died. Question is, would Sonny do that just to get his hands on the estate? Antarctica's rich in minerals, isn't it?
That's what everyone believes, but mining out there is illegal.
Since when did making something illegal stop people doing it? We need to talk to Mr. Desai.
Oh, and Felix's solicitor is badgering us to release him.
Let him badger.
I've done nothing wrong.
Legally, possibly not. But do you think it was ethical to make your funding conditional on Felix selling you property that still belonged to his father?
I know Felix, Inspector. After Gregory died, he would have sold the estate to the first buyer that came along. I was doing the whole family a favor.
By landing in Little Moulton the morning after the body was taken?
Please explain to me why, after waiting 6 years to acquire Moulton Hall, I should slow down the sale by hiding Gregory Lancaster's body. And why on earth would I dig up Nanny Lydia?
Someone is trying to unsettle the Lancasters, and you have more reason than most.
And Craig Coughley? I killed him because?
Because you don't just want Moulton Hall, do you, Mr. Desai? You want the whole package, including Rose Lancaster.
You should consider writing romantic fiction.
Sir.
Excuse me, Mr. Desai. We'll resume this conversation later.
Cam just called. The carabiner was covered in fingerprints. Felix's.
Get him here now.
Why don't you call it a day?
I just want to get the invoice for Mr. Jenkins' funeral done.
No, that can wait. Been a hard week.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks. Night, Caleb.
Good night. She's just gone.
I thought she was going to be on that computer all night. Yeah.
Do you recognize this?
Yeah, I use it all the time. It's good all-purpose rope. But,
But?
Well, there should be more.
Do you keep an inventory?
No, but that box used to be full.
You wouldn't know, for example, exactly how many carabiners should be in this box here.
No idea. My mother might know.
Does Mrs. Lancaster know much about climbing equipment?
She's been a lifetime member of the Alpine Club. She hasn't climbed for years, but she taught me and Rose.
Your sister's a climber.
Well, not anymore. Why are you so interested in my stuff?
Traces of rope, very similar to this, were found on the windowsill of your father's room and in Miss Dryfield's grave. And a carabiner with your fingerprints on it was discovered close to the scene of Craig Coughley's disappearance.
You're going to need more than that, Chief Inspector. Anyone could have come in here, taken what they needed, and left the evidence lying around to frame me.
Have her call me as soon as she gets out of the meeting. How are you?
This nightmare seems endless.
You need someone to take care of you, Rose.
I take care of other people. That's the way it works.
Will things change?
Only for the worse, it seems.
Not necessarily.
Right, thanks. Sir, Ellie Loxley's gone missing. Her mother called the station. Her bike's been found outside the undertaker's and she's not answering her phone.
Felix, let me get you a drink.
Get one myself, thanks. You don't own the place yet.
Of course not. I simply meant what you must have been through.
Save the charm for Rose, will you? And tell me straight. Is it you? Or more likely someone you paid? You wouldn't get your hands dirty, would you?
Am I stealing bodies? And murdering a man I barely know? Why would I do that?
Because you've been jealous all your life.
That's not true. Somebody's trying to scare me off. And I think it's you.
Caleb and Isaac aren't answering the door. I've rung Ellie's phone over and over. I can hear it in there. Listen. That's Ellie's.
Nelson.
She never forgets her phone.
We need to track down Caleb and Isaac.
Sir, there's another vehicle registered to Isaac. The old Volvo.
Put out a call for it.
What is this place?
And what is a fishing fly doing here? I need backup immediately. All available vehicles and personnel to Devil's Lake.
Shut it properly next time.
the police! You're safe! It's the police! You're safe! Ellie! Come on.
It's me, remember? D.S. Nelson, yeah? Come on, you're safe now. Hey? Come with me, you're gonna be all right. Come on. You all right?
I have 3 missing bodies to find. If you know anything about them, I'd advise you to say so now.
Nothing at all.
No. So what was going on tonight?
Eric Jenkins loved Devil's Lake. After he retired, he spent most of his time up there fishing. And it's where he wanted to be when he died. It's as simple as that.
Simple and entirely illegal. And what about yesterday's funeral at the church?
It's much easier to bury a fake body than have it cremated. We put the coffin in the ground. No one's any the wiser.
And the vicar, was she involved?
Melissa has nothing to do with any of this, Inspector.
Good Lord. No. Nor did Ellie.
What other unorthodox arrangements have you made?
I once buried a couple, side by side, in the beauty spot where they first made love. Yes, a surprising number of people request a Viking-style send-off. And was it last year? Yes, we had a follower of Tibetan Buddhism who wanted a sky burial. We didn't do that ourselves. We handed the body over to some of his co-religionists.
I don't know how you'll fare in court, but you must realize that you both face professional ruin. Why take the risk?
Because we believe people have the right to choose their final resting place.
Do you honestly think we've done anything wrong?
What I think is neither here nor there, Mr. Southwood. The law is the law. Did Uniform get Ellie safely home?
Yeah. I take it there's no need to drag Devil's Lake.
No, Caleb and Isaac have nothing to do with our case, I'm sure of that. Let's get an update from the search team. These bodies have to be somewhere.
I couldn't get her to sleep without Pink Ted.
He's gone missing again.
Yeah, afraid so.
Do you think we should track down a replacement?
She won't be fooled. Go. Long day for you too.
If you were storing bodies on a country estate, where would you put them?
Well, if I wanted to keep them fresh, a freezer, obviously, or a cellar, somewhere cold. A lot of the old mansions used to have ice houses.
We've scoured every inch of the Moulton Hall estate. There's nothing like that.
Well, how about looking further? Boundaries change. What's Moulton Hall today might not have been in the past.
Rose, you're not eating anything.
No.
Sonny, can I get you something? There's some delicious yogurt from the local goat farm.
No, thank you, Hermione.
Good morning, darling. Can I get you some scrambled eggs, Felix?
I'm going for a run.
Oh, do let's sit down as a family. This business with Craig has unsettled everyone.
You sure about that?
Darling!
Rose, whatever happens, remember that Felix is your brother.
What's that supposed to mean?
I think your loyalty will be tested to the limit quite soon.
You're saying you think Felix is responsible for everything that's happened?
The thought must have crossed your mind.
No. And if it's crossed yours, what are you still doing here?
Rose,
Save it.
We've already covered that ground, haven't we?
The boundary of the estate was changed in the 1920s. We need to extend our search into this area, specifically here.
I'll get on it. But there's something else. I've been looking into the expedition that Sonny Desai funded. There were questions raised about his involvement, but that's not all. Their time out there was cut short because a man died. Richard Melrose, the team geologist.
Where are you going?
I need to talk to Felix.
I think you should stay here with Sonny.
Thank you, Mrs. Melrose. And once again, I'm very sorry for your loss. It's as we thought. Richard Melrose took his stepfather's name.
Right, everyone, gather around, please. Okay, we've already searched this area. We now need an organised search of this area.
Good morning, Mrs. Lancaster. I'd like to talk to your son.
Oh, he's gone out on his run, I'm afraid. What's going on?
We're extending the search for the missing bodies. How much do you know about the death of Richard Melrose?
Oh, the geologist. That was a terrible tragedy. He fell down a crevasse and broke his neck, I believe.
What happened to his body?
I don't know. Felix didn't seem to want to talk about it when he came home, so I didn't press.
There's quite a lot of things that Lancasters don't talk about. Isn't that right, Hermione?
Sonny, this really isn't your business.
I'm beginning to realise that. I used to think you were the perfect family, but you're incapable of telling each other the truth.
I'm sorry if Rose hasn't fallen at your feet, Sonny, but...
Mrs. Lancaster, we're dealing with a very dangerous person. So if there's something important you're keeping secret, I need to know about it.
Tell him about Gregory's accident, Hermione.
It was an accident.
But?
Felix and Rose were madly competitive at everything, but especially climbing. I used to take them up Moulton Scar and they'd race to get to the top.
That's where it happened?
No. It happened here. They used to play a climbing game on ropes suspended in the stairwell. Rose almost always won. But one day she froze It happens sometimes in the mountains to even the most experienced climbers. Gregory went up to help her, and he fell. He never walked again.
And Rose blamed herself?
Yes. She's not climbed since. But what neither Gregory nor Rose ever knew was that Felix had greased the rope. It was just a silly prank to beat her.
Did you confront him?
No. He was far too young to understand the consequences of his actions.
And instead of telling Rose, you let her retreat into the shadows, thinking it was her fault.
I didn't want her to hate her brother. But things were never the same between them after that.
Sir, they found something. There's a door around here. Thank you. Sir, there are only 2 bodies.
Is Gregory down there?
Yes, we found your husband.
You mustn't go down there, Mrs. Lancaster.
What route does Felix take when he goes running?
Down past the farm, round the south side of the Great Wood, and then on to Malton Scar. And back the same way. Rose went after him.
Thank you.
Felix, are you all right?
I can't move my arm! Rose!
Craig!
I can explain.
I thought you were dead. What have you done?
Rose! Rose!
What have you done?
Rose!
What have you done, you fool?
Rose! Sorry! I couldn't tell you the truth. Everything's gonna be okay. Rose! Rose! You gotta help me!
Don't worry, Felix, I'm coming. Why are you doing this? Huh?
Felix is a ruthless, selfish liar. All his life he's trodden on you and everyone else to get what he wants. He doesn't deserve to live.
Sweetheart, that's insane.
It's gotta look like a climbing accident. And then you'll be free. We both will.
He's my brother. My brother.
Do you think he cares about you? Family means nothing to Felix.
But it means a lot to you, doesn't it, Craig? You must have loved Richard very much.
Richard?
Richard Melrose, Craig's brother.
That's why you stole the bodies of the people Felix loved, isn't it? To punish him for not bringing your brother's body back from Antarctica.
I wanted him to suffer like I suffered. To know what it feels like. To not have a body to bury or a grave to visit.
You used me.
No! I came to Little Malton for Felix, yes. But I fell in love with you, Rose. I still love you.
You know that they couldn't have brought Richard's body back, not without risking everybody's lives.
That's what they claim. I know what really happened. Felix killed my brother.
Why do you think that?
Well, they found minerals, didn't they? Why else would Sonny Desai have been involved? And Richard would never have agreed to keep that secret.
So you set out to traumatize Felix. The last act of your revenge being to kill him and disappear having faked your own death.
But it doesn't matter.
Only that hasn't worked out, has it?
Felix will die like Richard, in agony at the bottom of a cliff.
No!
No, Craig!
Drop it! Drop it! Stay down.
Hold on, Felix! I'm coming to get you!
Move it!
Come on!
Rose! Rose?
Craig was right. I should have done more. I should have tried.
You did nothing wrong.
No, he deserves to know the truth. You both do. Craig, I did kill Richard. He fell.
just like you were told. And he broke his neck. But he wasn't dead. He was paralyzed. There was a storm coming. And I had the rest of the team to think of, and I climbed down to him. He was still alive, but there was no hope. We both knew that.
So you left him there?
I gave him an injection of morphine.
A lethal dose?
He asked me to do it. It was the hardest decision of my life. Craig, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so glad you could make it. Thank you.
Sarah, lovely to meet you.
So, how are you finding the job?
It's not what I was expecting so far, but I'm enjoying the challenge.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cam's been a real asset to the team these last few days.
Oh, so does that man speak for you for done all the work?
That's not what I meant.
Oh, and thank you for returning Pink Ted.
Who has now gone missing again? I'm beginning to suspect a vendetta.
Maybe this is the first one of our cases destined to go unsolved.
Unsolved? I don't think so. I'm guessing you have a dog.
Yes, we do. Sykes?
I took a few swabs of the toy before dropping it at the station. Pasteurella, capnocytophaga, and other pathogens indicating canine saliva were present. And thank you, Sykes.
Nice try, Sykesy. But Cam has rumbled you. Find Pink Ted.
See, not so unsolvable after all.
Yeah, another mystery solved. And clearly, Sykes agrees that you are very much part of the team.
Thank you.
Cheers.